Instagram to your page in Facebook. That will help you going forward. It will sync your posts, so you only have to do one post, and you'll do that in Business Suite. And I'll show you that as we get kind of through the presentation. So everything starts with that business page. So you're going to want to create a business page. I've just named all of my stuff the same across every platform, just so that it's easy for me. But you guys can surely do whatever is easiest for you guys. So this is me, this is my page. So this is what comes up when I go into my page. So to get to your page, you go through your flag, and then all your pages will show up down the side. So I have multiple pages, but I'm going to show you my page specifically for Novetica. A couple of things on this page, if you're not familiar with pages, you will see down the side on the left-hand side, kind of all of your things that you can look at. Kind of think of it as like call to actions for the day, if you will. So you look in updates, they give you little tips and tricks, if you will, on how to benefit out of the business suite and how to boost posting. And they will give you insight on which posts that they would like, that would probably do the best if you boosted them. And so I'm going to kind of interchange boost and add. They're the same thing, but Facebook, for whatever reason, calls them two different things depending on where you're sitting within the Facebook business page or your own personal page. So once you have that done, you can see that I have mine linked. So your Facebook will show up here and your Instagram will show up here. And then you'll go into your business suite, and that will allow you to post everything simultaneously. So here's kind of the high level benefits of the business suite. So you can schedule your posts, like I said, simultaneously. So that means I only have to go in and post one time, and it's hitting both Facebook and Instagram. Okay. I also, because I can schedule my posts, I don't miss any days anymore. So I personally go in on Sunday and I schedule my posts for the week. And then if for whatever reason I see, ooh, Mrs. Mulder posted this really awesome thing on Wednesday, that's what I call a bonus addition to my page. And I just add it. But at least I know that I always have posts going out there. The more consistency you can have with your posts and getting posts on Facebook and Instagram, the more consistency you will have with your followers. So if they know that you're going to post every day, they'll be out there looking for you every day. So that's like key to keeping people within your pages and in your Instagram. Creating the ad. So you create the ad out of the business suite. I have not found a way, and if anybody knows, please keep me great, but I have not found a way to do an ad on Facebook outside of the business suite. I mean, outside of having a business page. You can do it either within the suite or from Facebook, but you have to do it off of a page. And so what that does is it allows you to boost yourself a little bit quicker and allows you to get followers. The last thing that the suite does is it gives you insight. So it gives you charts and graphs and statistics on who's looking at your posts and which posts are doing the best. So if I have a series of posts that's going out on dog behavior, and for whatever reason, all the ones with the dogs as the first picture are doing great, I now know that I want to lead my post with a picture of a dog instead of a picture of a cookie. So that just helps me figure out what's going to be the eye catcher. And so I watch that to make sure that my first picture within my post is the best option according to what my viewers want. So making a post within the business suite. So you will see this top piece will be there, and you will just click on create post, and this next box will pop in for you. And you can post to Facebook, you can post to Instagram, or you can post to both at the same time. So I have mine defaulting to post to both at the same time, because for the most part, I post everything to both Instagram and Facebook at the same time. There's a few situations where that doesn't work because either Facebook or Instagram won't take a certain format. So you have to kind of do them separately and attach different pictures or videos to them. but it will give you, it'll pop up a box and tell you what that is if you run into that. So then you put your text in here, you put your pictures in, you can put a video in. It allows you up to 5 pictures. And I recommend using those 5 spots because what that does is it helps people interact with your page because they'll see that you have 2 or 3 or 4 pictures out there. So they're going to go in and click on your pictures. So you want to have those pictures so they interact with your post. So here's an example of one of my posts. So my 6 p.m. post this week is all on Valentine's treats. So I have it posted, I have all my posts lined up so that they're all just going to come out at 6 p.m. So every day this week, I set out a teaser on Sunday saying, hey, watch my page at 6 o'clock every week. I'm going to have a recipe out. So this is going to come out every day at 6 o'clock this week is a new recipe. And they're all catered to Valentine's Day. So they're hearts and stuff like that. So my recipe is in my text box and my media is down here. Okay. If you get this warning that says image is too small to crop, it doesn't mean anything because you're not going to crop it. It's the picture you already want. But if you want to go in and crop it, it won't let you. Does that make sense? If you get this warning over here that says it's the wrong setup and format for Instagram or Facebook, that's okay. It doesn't mean you can't use it. Oops. It just means that you need to fix it, okay? So if you go into the pencil, it will give you 3 options to pick. Pick whatever one fits that picture the best, and then hit apply and accept, and your error will go away, and you'll be able to post them, okay? So then once your post is all set, you have all of your pictures lined up. You will then, if you want it to go out now, you can put publish, and it will go out instantly. Otherwise, you schedule your post. So then a calendar will pop up. You will schedule your post in your time. And then you'll hit schedule. Then this box that says published will turn to schedule. You click that and it will dump to scheduled. And then it will look like this page. So these are all of my posts that I have scheduled right now. And if I would click on published, that would show you everything that I published. So if for some reason you're like, oh my gosh, I know I made that post for 6 o'clock tomorrow, but it's not showing up. Check your published. You might have accidentally published it instead of scheduling it, because I've done that a lot. I'm going to ask any questions on this piece before I kind of move into the next piece. So this was scheduling the post. And you have to have a post out there in order for me to do the next piece. So that's why I kind of covered what you need to have before we can do an ad, okay? Does anybody have questions? And I don't have chat. So if anybody has questions, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, so Ms. Griffis, just to be clear, this covers both Facebook and Instagram?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yep. And this is how I have posts. So I'll cover it a little later, but I try to do 5 posts a day, roughly 4 to 5. And I kind of have a system to how I do that, but I try to schedule them all on Sunday so that I'm focusing on everything else throughout the rest of the week. Sunday night is my night that I do my posts. And you can do it sitting right on your couch on your phone if you want. You don't have to be on your computer.
So on Sunday, you schedule 5 posts every single day?
Correct.
Wow. So you do 5 on Monday, 5 on Tuesday, 5 on...
Yep.
So you all put on with Sunday. Okay. Wow. Yep. Great. Awesome.
Yep. And I have my format kind of coming up too. So on what that looks like. So right here. So this is kind of what I do for my postings. And this is just something that I kind of fell into the routine of. And I have people that literally watch for certain stuff to come out. So everybody knows that I have testimonies that come out at 8 o'clock. So they're waiting to see what my testimony of the day is. So my tips is always keep it consistent. Stay as consistent as you can because humans are by nature, they like consistency. I always know that there's going to be something there at 6 o'clock in the morning. So this is kind of how I do it. So I do 4 to 5 a day. This is kind of my outline. So 6 o'clock is always a product for the most part. My 8 o'clock is varied. It can be a fun thing. It can be a breed thing. So it's kind of that post that I play with a little bit as far as what's in there. My noon is usually a prospect, or I'm looking for something. I'm looking for somebody to join my team. I'm looking for something. So that's my prospecting one. Sometimes it's also my motivational one. If I don't have a post that's like, hey, I want you to join my team, then it's a business motivational post. My 6 o'clock is my fun one or my interactive one. So like my last one I actually let run 3 days was cats versus dogs. And I did a poll where people would comment on, they'd pick cat or dog. Right now, dogs are winning. But, and then they'd comment and they'd picture. And so that one's going on right now. And then my testimonies. And whenever I do anything with product, including my testimonies, I always make sure this picture is attached as the last picture on my post. So this picture right here is always within my product posts or my testimonial posts, so that anybody looking at that post can see products we offer and know that I do free pet assessments. So any other questions on the post before I jump into ads or boosting?
Hi, yes, Ms. Griffith, this is Ms. Danish.
Hi, Ms. Danish.
You said that, hi, you said you didn't know how to make the post go from outside, from the inside of your page to your public post. You go down when you get ready to send it. If you look at the bottom before you send it, before you get ready to press post, in the bottom right corner should be your profile pic. It's a little circle with your profile pic and
Yep.
an arrow next to it. You click on that, it should bring up your regular page or your regular Facebook, and as another option, you click on that and then you can post it.
Sure. Yeah. What I was talking about is I don't know of a way to make a post an ad or a boost any other way than from inside of a business page. So you can't make an actual ad if you're on, and I played with this quite a bit when Heather asked me to present. And I tried to find a place like within groups or within right off of your Facebook page to
You could do
create
it.
an ad
You could do it through your page. I forget exactly how it is. I
to make an
boosted.
ad.
Yeah, so you can. I boosted some posts just straight off my page. There was an
People.
option to just give it a try, and so I did. And that was just straight off of my profile page and also straight off of my Instagram page. But the thing is, it was one thing I noticed. I converted my Instagram account to a business Instagram account for free,
Yeah.
and that allowed me to start boosting. So through
Correct.
my book. So that I think is the one thing that you have to do.
Yep. And so if you do it through the business suite on Facebook, it automatically kind of does it for you. So it automatically makes your Instagram boostable.
Nice.
And you'll see that here as we kind of walk through how to boost. Any other questions? Okay, so this is kind of my page, and this is when you're on your business page, every one of your posts is going to have boost a post. Okay, you can click through there to boost a post, or you can go to your ad center to boost a post. I like to use these numbers over here to know if I'm boosting a already highly watched post versus a not highly watched post. So once you go in to boost or to place an ad, whichever way, and this is why I like to do it off of my main page. So I do this off of my page versus within the business suite. So you can boost one off of the business suite, but the way that it walks you through the steps to do your paid, to do your ad is a little bit different. I like this one because of the flow. It just works for me. So the very first section you come to is your goal section. So you need to decide what your goal is. What are you hoping to get out of boosting your particular post? You can leave it on automatic and then it just sticks with the algorithm that Facebook uses. Otherwise, you can do, hey, I'm hoping to get more messages. I'm hoping to get more leads. I'm hoping to get more engagements. I want phone calls. Whatever you pick is kind of going to determine the direction of your boost. Okay. I usually leave it on automatic unless I'm specifically searching for something. So if I'm specifically looking for leads, I will pick a lead. What happens there though is it will drop a lead form before they can get into your post. So I use that if I'm boosting a prospecting post, I will use that one. Then the next thing is picking if you want a button on your post. I always put a button on my post, even if it's just send a message, because it gives that person a spot to interact with your post. So most often my default is send me a message. That's kind of my default. So that's what sits there. Then the next step is your welcome message. So here you have lots of choices. So you can customize your greeting to somebody once they want more information from you or they click your button. And so you can have just the greeting and remove all your questions. These are the default questions. I just left them here so that everybody could kind of see what it looks like when it defaults. And then over here is kind of a mock of what it will look like when they hit your button. So if they hit send me a message button, this is what they will see. So this, I customize my questions depending on the post. And they can be anything. If I'm boosting a skin and coat, sometimes it'll be, does your dog itch? Does your dog scratch? Does your dog chew? So it really depends on what I'm boosting as what questions I use. And then picking your range. So this is where this is where you're really picking the audience. So this is how it's going to drive the ad to certain profiles. So the first one you're going to pick is an age group, an age range. And that age range is anything from infant all the way to 65 plus. Okay. The last page I boosted was a prospecting one. So I shrink down my age for prospecting. And so I did 18 to 55. And so I kind of slide that around, and looking at my insight, my main bulk of followers are under the age of 50. So it's really, for me to go much higher than that, it's just not beneficial for me. So it might be something completely different for you. So, and I will show you what insight looks like here as we get to the end. I kind of saved that to the end because it's kind of like bonus information. Then the next thing you want to do is your location. So it will default your location to wherever your Facebook account is set up. Okay. So for me, it's New Lisbon and it'll say +10. So if you do not change that, so for me, that would be like, I don't know, 10 people, 15 people. I don't know. There's not many people in a 10-mile radius of my house. So if I don't change that, the group that's going to get my ad is really small. So I always go in and expand that out. So the first thing I do is I hit the New Lisbon button and I expand it all the way up to 50 miles. So then it gives me this circle. So this is where that ad's going to go if I don't add anything else. I can then make my picture so I can see more area, and it will allow you to drop up to 5 pins. Now each circle will only let you go up to 50 miles, but you can put that pin anywhere in the world you want to put that pin, and it'll create these circles for you. Okay. And so then it generates this lovely little thing down here. You never want to be in the red and you never want to be in the white. You want to be somewhere in the green, preferably at the middle to tipping toward broad. Okay. That gives you the highest potential for your ad to go out to as many people as it can and still be in your target market. Okay. So for this one, what I've picked here, and this is really because I picked Minneapolis and Green Bay, 2 heavily populated cities, but I did it so that you could see the number. Okay. So this is the potential that I'm going to reach with my current definitions of my ad. You can also do it by, if you say you want to do Baltimore, you can put Baltimore in here and it will pull in Baltimore. You're still going to want to slide because any city that it pulls in, it only gives you +10. So you still want to make it 50 miles. You still want to get the biggest bang for your buck. Okay. So then this page, I start most of my ads at $10. You can spend astronomical. I mean, you can slide that slide bar anywhere you want. Okay. I post most of my ads for 7 days unless they're specific to something that's coming up. So if I boost a post for a contest on Saturday, I'm not going to do it for 7 days because I need that information now. I need those people in my box right now. Okay, so I would shorten that because if I let it go 7 days, it's going to go past 2 days from the contest. So this is flexible. You can change all of that. Okay. As you slide this and change the days, it will change the information on the right-hand side. This is a daily estimate on how many people it will reach a day, okay? I always make sure this number is over 200. It's just the number that I picked. I don't even know why I picked it. I just picked it. It sounded like a good number to stop at. So that is kind of setting up ads, setting up your budget, and getting everything set to go in your ad. Okay, once all of that's figured out, this fabulous little box pops up, and this box asks you where you want to put your ad. It always defaults into Facebook because that's where we started. You can put it in Instagram as well, and you can put it on Messenger. Me personally, I have not had really great success with Messenger and Instagram. My success is coming out of Facebook. So for me personally, I turn these two off, but you can keep them on. For me, Messenger, I think most people ignore the ads that come into their Messenger. I think most of us just don't even pay attention. We delete them and we don't even necessarily see them. So that is placing the ad. So here's some of my tips, okay? I kind of went through all of this, but I wanted to summarize it so that you guys kind of had a summary sheet and bullets. So drop your pins, make sure you're expanding those pins out to 50 miles. When somebody reaches out to you, make sure that you get them into Messenger as fast as you can. Don't keep commenting on that post because it charges you by interaction. So every time you comment, you're eating your budget. You're eating your budget up in your own comments because it doesn't make the differentiation. Okay. So as soon as they start interacting with you, I pull them out and put them in Messenger and we start interacting through Messenger. Be sure to invite anyone that interacts to your page. Even if they didn't leave you a comment, if they just liked it or they heard it, be sure you're going in and grabbing those likes and hearts and cares and everything else that they can drop and invite them to your page so they keep following you. Because even if you don't get something out of this particular ad, you may get something 2 months down the road, okay? Because I did. And it does happen. It may not happen right away, but I'm kind of keeping track of how many of those people I'm like, yep, I asked them to follow me. Yep, I asked them to follow me. And now here I am, and they're messaging me because their dog has an issue. So kind of make sure you're interacting with them once they look, okay? Oops. Okay, just did that. So the pictures, again, reminder, 5 pictures. Try and do as many pictures as you can. Piques curiosity, and it gets them to interact in your post. So you get a click count within your ad, and it will tell you how many people actually click into your post. And those pictures get them to click into your post. The more likely they click into your post, the more likely they are going to be to actively follow your page, okay? So this is kind of an overview of a post. So this shows you that we started 3 conversations. That's the guesstimation on what it cost me per conversation. Okay, so it sucked my budget down. And that this is how many people it reached, and these are my clickabilities. Okay, I reached 929 people. And off of this particular post, I ended up adding about 20 new followers to my page. Okay. So even though I may not have gotten a recruit, because this is what this was, I did get a customer off of this. It took me about a month and a half, but I got her. So just know that it may take a little bit of time to see the benefits of your ad, okay? You may not see it directly as your ad's running those 7 days, but keep those people engaged. Keep working on those people because they're interested. If they clicked into your ad, they're interested, okay? So keep their interest. Another critical thing for me as far as scheduling posts and keeping posts going, keeps them there. It keeps them looking. This is a breakdown as far as who saw my post. Like I said, this is my target, this is my area, and that's pretty much where it is on everything I do. So for me to keep stuff coming up this direction, it just isn't cost effective for me. So I've shrunk mine. When I post my ads, I've shrunken it down. And you guys may see something else based on your area. So, okay. Any questions on placing the ad, on getting ads out there, on how to do the ad?
Yeah, so, first of all, I just want to say, Ms. Griffiths, this is really, really valuable info. I hope, ladies and gentlemen, you all are taking a ton of notes. Thank you, Ms. Griffiths, for getting on here and going into detail and really breaking down every single aspect is very, very appreciated. Okay, highly appreciated, seriously. That being said, I know you said you share a post that typically has a lot of views. Okay, but I'm certain that there's certain posts that you don't share, like the fun or the entertainment posts or that type of thing. So um, when you post and you mentioned you get them into the messenger, okay, so your goal is not to send them directly to your website. Correct me if I'm wrong, but your goal is to get them on a messenger so you can do a pet assessment, right?
Correct. And I'm going to cover that here. That's my next thing. I'm going to talk about converting them from your ad or converting them from a post, if you will, into my presentation.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry for
That's
jumping
okay.
in.
You just walked me right in there. So that is kind of the next piece. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wanted to catch you before you went in.
Nope, you're good.
Let's see. You when talking about the location pins. Now I do ads from time to time, and I've never used pins. It's always like when it gets to it's kind of like, oh, you can make a target audience. So I already have like several target audiences saved for different things. So I've never seen the pins. Is that always an option? Is that always in there, or is it?
Yep. Yeah, it is. Here, let me back up so you can, I'll show you what it looks like when you first get there. So this is what it looks like when you first get there. So you want to go into the little pencil. And then when you go into the pencil, your Facebook account city defaults. So for me, New Lisbon defaults, and it's always +10. So that's the first box I change. And you can save them. You can save as many as you want. I create new ones every time just because I like to put my circles down. And I like to see where they're kind of going. And plus, over time, you kind of start to figure out what circles are valuable and which ones aren't at that given time. So like for me, for example, northern Wisconsin, I don't get very much stuff off of at all. Okay. I will put one up kind of central northern, but anything up in here, it just isn't happening for me. So that's, I do watch the cities of my profiles that are coming in. So I do Facebook stock. Everybody that comes into my page, you can look at their profile. So I look at their profile and I see kind of what I'm getting from my ads. So I'll go into them, I'll figure out where they're located, what city they're in. And even if they don't tell you what city they're in, you can kind of deduct that based on their job and what schools they've gone to. So I kind of Facebook stalk people to see where my ads are doing the best. So yeah, so you're probably back on this, seeing this screen, and you probably have a defaulted audience already.
Yeah, I like to add a little more clarity too, if you don't mind, Ms. Griffiths.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Krumah, if you're not seeing the pins, it may be because you're doing your and you correct me if I'm wrong, but it could be because you're doing your target audience based off of descriptions, things they like, that type of thing. She gets the pins because she's doing it based off the location. So if you could use the location, then you'll see more depends versus just the type of audience that you want.
Correct. Yep.
Oh.
And just a FYI, don't ever pick these two, because they will send all of your ads to people that are already your friends and already on your pages, and you're wasting your money. Don't tell Facebook I just said that. So don't ever pick those two, because you're already sending to them. You don't need to pay Facebook to send them stuff. You want new people.
All right.
Does that
Thank you
make
so much.
sense?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Griffiths.
Yeah, absolutely. So I
Ms. Griff-
always, this little thing right here, this is like my little speedometer. That is like key. I like, that's how I place everything. I watch where this is going. So that's how I place my pins. I make sure that I'm getting enough of what I want.
Ms. Griffiths,
Yeah, absolutely.
how often do you boost your posts?
It really does depend. So if I am doing just fine off of referrals and off of my normal posts, then I don't. There's been time, I only run one boosted post at a time. I never run more than one. That's just me. I don't necessarily run them back to back. I watch my page, and I watch my ticker and how engaged everybody is. And if I'm ticking up, I don't post. As soon as I start to tick down at all, I will boost a post.
Thank you for that insight.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this is like the meat and potatoes on why I boost my posts. Converting, and this is not just for an ad post, this is any post. So anytime you're posting a post anywhere, I apply this. Okay, this is like, I don't know, this is how I do pretty much everything. So I convert them, so I compliment them. So if they hearted me or liked me or whatever, I Facebook stalk them a little bit so that I can compliment them. I compliment them, and then I start trying to interact with, so I stalk them a little bit more. I always make sure they have a dog or a cat or something, so I stalk their pictures and stuff. But I figure if they're interacting with me on a product level, they already have a dog. Otherwise, they wouldn't have clicked into my post. Okay. So these are kind of the questions that I start with. So I compliment them, then they'll respond back usually. If they don't, well, then I'll try them again on a different post. Then I always start with, hey, what's your dog's name? How old's your fur baby? Then once I get their name, I insert dog's name everywhere, okay? So what breed is Muffy? And then could you share some pictures of Muffy? I'd really love to see Muffy. Then they send you your pictures, and then just compliment every single picture they send you. Heart it, love it, care it, do all of that, no matter how many they send you. Like I was telling Miss Fleetner, I had a lady send me 6 of them today. So as soon as you get somebody who's willing to send you their fur baby pictures, they're interested. You have to understand that as soon as they start doing that, that's when you need to reel them in. That's when you need to start pull them into Messenger and work with them, right? So I generally try to get them into Messenger at the what type of breed. At that point, then I'll jump into Messenger, and that's when I start asking them to share pictures with me, because they're more apt to share pictures with you in Messenger than out on your post. And once you do that, you have this inherent rapport, because we all love talking about our dogs. So as soon as they start posting pictures, you can pick anything out of those pictures. Oh my gosh, look at Muffy. She's so cute. She's sleeping or she's dancing or whatever. And you can start that conversation. Then once that goes back and forth a little bit, I just say, hey, I'd love to chat with you about Muffy. What do you think? Do you have any time in the next few days? And that's kind of how I go. And I just, if they're kind of like hemming and hawing, I give them days. How about Tuesday and Wednesday? What works best? And then they'll pick a day and time. And then I go, great, sounds great. Confirm date, time. How about Zoom? Do you do Zoom at home? Almost everybody says yes. If they say no, I just walk them through how to use Zoom. I go, oh, it's super easy. All you have to do is click on the link that I send you in Messenger. Pause is my password. If it asks you, click on it and we'll be all set. So that's kind of how I get them into Zoom. If they're like a hemming and hawing before the Zoom meeting, I generally kind of explain to them why Zoom is important for me, and important for them really. And honestly, I've had one person tell me they didn't want to Zoom, and that was it. And like I told Miss Fleetner, yes, I still got a sale, but I wasn't happy. I didn't get what I normally do. For me, I try to get them into Zoom because I use the pet party presentation. It allows you, one, it gives them a secondary visual so they can read what they want to read while you're talking to them. And as humans, we like suck in information. And so I've just found it extremely beneficial. So if I'm talking about skin and coat and I'm talking about omegas and brewer's yeast and all that stuff, I'm talking about that, but they're reading the other little things that maybe I didn't say because I didn't memorize the slide, but I'm giving them little tidbits. And so for me, that is kind of what has been working. So let's see. So then I send them the link. And then once I do that, I tell them I look forward to learning more about Muffy. I use their dog's name again at the last, at kind of that last hook in. And then, like I said, I use the pet presentation. So I use it right off of the Google Drive. So this is the page that, this is how I set it up actually. So they will see that this stuff, right? So as I go through the slides, I pull this line up so that they can see everything else that's down there. So they not only see the slide, but they see kind of all that extra information that we tell them. Okay. So then that allows them to read a little bit extra than you're saying. So when it comes to hip and joint, I usually tell them, I usually talk about stories. So I talk about Pablo, I talk about my Autumn, I talk about probably about 4 different dogs that have benefited from hip and joint while I'm on these 3 slides, because there's a lot for them to look at. And some do, some don't. Some kind of just stay interacted with me in my stories, but some don't. So that's kind of why I use, or how I use the PowerPoint, I guess. And I do the same thing on the dog food portions and the sick portions. That information that is in this, the body or the cliff notes, if you will, of the presentation, that's huge. There's so much awesome information down there. And they read it. And I can tell you, like I told Miss Fleetner, regardless of what the pet assessment says, I go over every single item. And
Miss Griffith, I'm going to interrupt here. I'm so sorry. Can everybody please mute their phones? Thank you.
And so what I do, sorry, I lost my train of thought, got sucked back in. So I go over every single product with them because it's super, super important that they understand what I have to offer. I don't want to select something out that they may feel their pet needs. So I cover every single item. So I do the assessment in the middle. So I cover the dog food, then I bump out and I do the assessment, and I do the assessment. So I pull it up on my screen in Zoom and I do it so that I'm clicking through everything. I show them what the assessment says. I always make a little joke because I cover Dr. London's story at the beginning of my presentation, kind of on why we got started and how I got started and those types of things. So I just make a little joke. Oh, we don't need to watch this video because I kind of already talked about how we got started. So I pass the video. They don't watch the video, but I let them see that premier cart. So I let them see all those things. And then I'm like, okay, now we're going to go talk about kind of everything we have to offer Muffy. And I go through everything. And then once I do that, I don't go back to the premiere screen. I bounce right into, hey, what 4 or 5 items did you like? and they'll tell me. And as they're telling me, I flip to the screen and start filling out their information, their name. And I'm like, oh, it's a good number. And I start filling that out as they're thinking of those items. So by the time I get down to the products again, on the retail side, I have everything figured out and they know the first 4 items they want to buy. And so whatever it is, I'll go, oh, okay. And they'll sometimes be like, what do you recommend? And I'll tell them the order I would recommend them in. And then I'll throw something in there like, hey, what do you think about no rinse? I think Muffy could really benefit from no rinse or whatever. So that's kind of how I do high level, how I do my presentations and kind of get them converted from a post into Zoom.
So I'm sorry, can we backtrack just a little bit, Ms. Griffiths? So, and thank you again. When you go through the pet assessment with them, okay, are you going over the products here on a PowerPoint before you go through the pet assessment?
No, I I go over the food section, and then right here where it says, take a closer look, I jump to the assessment, we do the assessment, and then I bounce back to this slide.
Right, okay, so you do the assessment, and then after they get the recommendations, you go over the PowerPoint based on the products that they're recommending.
Yep, but I go over every product.
You still go over every single product?
Yep.
Oh, got it. Yes,
takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to do an assessment, depending on how much they talk.
Right.
Because sometimes they'll be like, so what happens sometimes is I'll be talking through something. So say they didn't recommend hip and joint because of whatever reason, I'll be talking about it and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. I think I'll put my dog on hip and joint because that'd be great to keep their joints healthy forever. And they'll like tell me why they need something that maybe we didn't recommend. And I've had that happen a couple of times where they're like, oh, skin and coat is one that they do because they understand omegas and they understand like brewer's yeast and why that stuff's important. So they'll be like, oh, omegas are really good. I need that. I want my dog's coat to be nice and shiny. Right. So it just kind of, I don't know. I have found that by doing everything, you're letting them decide what's important. I use the assessment though to tell them what I think their first 4 items should be, because the assessment will help me with that. So if they're like struggling on, hey, what do I think I should do? I'll be like, calming is a really good one for Muffy because she doesn't like thunderstorms and she's a lab, so we should probably do some hip and joint and maybe some digestive because labs have problems with their guts. So I'll do that because those are usually the 3, if you will, that show up for sure for the labs for whatever reason.
Yes, ma'am.
So yeah, that's kind of what I do. I use that assessment to kind of steer them a little bit into, and I'll customize like my slide. So if I know that it's recommending calming, I'll say, hey, it's recommending calming because Muffy's afraid of thunderstorms and she really suffers when you guys leave. So calming would be a really good one for her. And then I'll kind of give examples on why calming would help Muffy. So the ones that I know that are in the assessment, I just like personalize it to the dog. And if they have multiple dogs, I do all of the assessments before I go into the presentation so that I can say, hey, it recommended Tigger for hip and joint. And, so this would be a really good one for Tigger. Multivitamin for Muffy, Fluffy, and Dewey. I don't know. So that I can tell them and explain to them what would be important for each one of their dogs. So I still use the assessment and I utilize what it says for them. And so I just high level it when we're on the assessment page, but then go in depth with the PowerPoint.
Awesome.
So that's kind of, and I can definitely do another training if you'd like on kind of how I walk through that. I know this piece I added kind of last minute because.
Well, no, this is really good info. I just wanted to get the, just so everyone, including myself, understands the process, right, from beginning to end.
Sure.
So, you have you start off by creating your page, right? Then you schedule your posts, do 5 posts a day, okay? And then basically you'll give feedback from certain individuals on your posts, and you'll go from there on the post to ask them, what's your dog's name? On the actual post, right? Okay, what's your dog's name? How old is he? Okay, and then once they give you that, then you go into the messenger. to bring them
I,
in.
I moved to Messenger when so I asked them the breed. So I asked the 3 questions at in the ad, so or in the posts. After they give me the breed, then I flip.
Okay.
So at the point where I'm going to ask them to give me pictures, that's when I flipped Messenger.
Great. Great. Okay. Awesome. So what's your dog's name? How old are they? What's their breed? And then you go into the messenger, ask them for pictures.
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
Perfect. And when they give you that boom, 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 then you go from there to asking them, will they be open to hopping on and learning more on how to take care of their pet via
Correct.
Zoom? Okay. And then you walk it through the pet party presentation. You give the intro. Well, first you start off with introducing how you got started, now the London story, going into the PowerPoint, right?
Yep.
Break it down to PowerPoint until you get to the pet assessment part. Then you take them to the pet assessment on your website.
Yep.
You do the pet assessment, okay? Then you get their recommendations. Then you flip back to the PowerPoint.
Correct.
And you start going over each and every single product.
Correct.
Okay? Then you ask that question, all right, out of everything you heard, what product stuck out to you the most? They'll give you an idea, or they'll ask you, I don't know, what do you think I need? Okay?
Correct.
And then you pick based off of the pet assessment.
Correct.
And you put them in a particular order. Okay.
Correct.
So now when they gave you the list, or you gave the recommendations, I remember you say you already started putting their information in. When you say that, do you mean that you already started filling out their information on the creating an account?
Correct.
Okay, now how did you get their information for you to fill it out while they're, you know?
I talk to them, I ask them, I just start filling it out. So their name I know because I'm talking to them. So I just start filling it out, and then your number, and everybody just walks right through it with me.
Okay, so you're like, oh yeah, so what product stuck out to you the most? I really like the hip and joint. Okay, I like the multi. Okay, yeah. Oh, real quick, what's your phone number?
Correct.
What's your email? Okay, okay. Now, what other products? Oh, I really like that. Oh, got you. So that's how you keep the conversation going while you're creating an account for them.
Correct.
Makes
so
sense.
that by the time they're done telling me what they liked,
Uh-huh.
I am now on the retail screen.
Got
So
it.
now I'm on the retail screen, and then I repeat back to what they said, and I start going, okay, so you really liked hip and joint. So should we add hip and joint to your cart? And I click it. Okay, yeah, you really liked, skin and coat. Should I add that to your cart? And they'll be like, yep, and I click it. So then as I start doing that, if they give me like hip and joint, then I'll go, oh, remember when I told you it's really important for them to stay on hip and joint and not have a lapse? I have this awesome thing. You can become a preferred customer and save 10%. And what that does, it allows you to never run out of hip and joint. It will always get shipped to your house and be ready for Muffy. Is that something you're interested in? Almost everybody says yes. And then I flip them right into an auto ship person.
Man, you are a beast, Ms. Griffis. You're a beast. Okay. Awesome. 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 Very, very powerful information. I just want to say this, thank you, Ms. Griffis. It's highly, highly appreciated. You just gave some really great nuggets, some really great information. Like even me, look, guys, if I'm being humble enough to learn from Ms. Griffis, okay, each and every single one of you on this call, unless you're getting more than $4,000 in sales, hopefully, you took some notes, okay? Ms. Griffis did not get on here just to talk the talk. No, she's sharing how she's getting results. She shared how she got $2,000 in sales within 24 hours, okay? And so all this information is valuable, okay? She literally gave you step-by-step, broke down anything and everything, all right? So again, thank you, Ms. Griffis. Great information. I'm so glad that we recorded this, and it was really, really highly detailed and very informative. So thank you so much, ma'am. All right. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry, I don't mean to take it up. Did anybody have any questions to ask you before we go ahead and wrap up?
I have a question, Ms. Griffis.
Yes.
Great job. Great job.
Thank you.
So do you create a username and password for them, like just using a model or something, or do you stop and ask them?
Nope, I do it. I just use their name. And then if it bonks at me, I put a 1 at the backside. So I just use their name, and I tell them, okay, we're going to set up your account with your username. Your name is going to be your username, and your password is going to be pause. And then once you go into your account, you can change that to whatever you'd like. Capital PAWS 1 2 3 4, because you need numbers and stuff. So that's kind of what I do as far as their password goes. And then we just keep going. And then at the end, you know, when it gives you that picture, I unshow, you click to show the password, and I tell them to take a screenshot of that so that they can get back into their account and do whatever they'd like.
So it's Griffis, Mr. Peterson here. So you basically set it up so that they can always go back and then pay for it by putting their credit card information, because you don't
No.
ever do anything with that. They do that themselves later on.
Nope, I do it all right there. I go through the entire process to submit the order till they see that screen that says, congratulations, here is your account information and your order has been submitted. All the way to the last screen when they hit submit and you see their account stuff created. So you see this screen here. Let me stop sharing for a second so you can see me. All right. Maybe you can't see me. How do you see it? Nope. So it's the congratulations and welcome to Novetica. Your enroller is yourself, and then your membership ID and name, username, password, all that stuff. And then as I'm explaining to them, take a screenshot of that. Be sure to take a screenshot, and then I usually get the text telling me that they're in, and then I go, okay, great, we're gonna click onto that orange button just so I can walk you through your back office. And then I just show it to them, show them what it looks like, and I get out. So yeah, I do it all.
Okay.
And again, I have not had anybody wrong as far as hey, no, I'm not going to give you payment or whatever. Most people are ready. I mean, most people, yeah, I got my card right here. So
awesome. I have a quick question. Thank you so much. You're doing an amazing job. This is Ms. Dickerson. Question. So originally you're sharing your screen because you're showing them the products, you know, and everything, the pet party presentation. And are you sharing your screen when you get to the point where you're entering their name and you ask them for their email? Are you still sharing, or do you stop until the very end when they take the picture of their login information?
I share all the way through.
Okay.
So that they can see what I'm doing. I don't want them to think that I'm keeping any information. So I just do it all right there.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Anyone else? Any other questions? So that's kind of what I had. I'm not sure if Mr. Brown has anything. It sounded like he stepped away to take a phone call maybe. But yeah, so that's kind of what I do. I use that pet party. It has been like, it was a huge crutch in the beginning. So for anybody who's new, you can read the slides. Nobody even cares that you're reading the slides. So by all means, if you can't think of what's in the hip and joint or why it's important, read the slide. That's kind of, you know, as I've started getting far more comfortable with my presentations, I don't say everything because they are reading the slide, because they'll be like, oh, so I see here this green lip mussel. What is that again? What does that do? When it's on the screen. So they'll start asking you questions, and sometimes that's better because they're interacting and you're not just talk at them. They're interacting now. And so, yeah, I've like I said earlier, I've only done one presentation without this. And yes, she was still a sale, but she only got one item, where most of the time I am getting anywhere between 4 and 6 items on everything, and including auto ship. So it has been huge for me. Huge.
So how do I sign up for one-on-one training with you on this?
I don't know. I'm happy to help though, but yeah, that's kind of how I've been doing it. And making sure you have stuff lined up, really. As far as lining people up, I don't necessarily, I try to get them within the 24, 48 hours, but I don't necessarily hit that. So like my weekends are my big days because I do work a full-time job during the week. So it's a little more tough for me to finagle some presentations in between school kids and our presentations. I do, but it's a little tougher for me. So what I do all week long is I kind of line people up for the end of the week. That's just kind of what I do because it works for my schedule. And it seems to work for a lot of people. like people like to do them on the weekends because their nights are just as crazy as our nights. So it's kind of just, I usually have 1 to 2 presentations during the week, and then the majority of my stuff's on the weekends. But that's just kind of how it's fallen for me. Any other questions, Mr. Peterson?
No, it was a great training. It was amazing, and I'm just an infant in social media, so
Yeah.
it sounds complicated, but I guess it's a matter of just.
Well, and I was an infant too. I honestly didn't have Instagram until I started. I started mid-November, so I've kind of just been playing with it. So I'm definitely open to learning as well. So if anybody has other tips and tricks, this is just stuff that I've kind of found through time and playing and tweaking. I mean, just like I said, the numbers that I play with for my ads, it's just something that I arbitrarily came up with. It's just like, oh, 200 a day, that sounds good. So yeah, definitely open. I am a sponge. I love to learn. But yeah, and I like to share. I share well.
Let's see if we can teach an old new dog new tricks.
Every dog can learn new tricks with the right motivation.
This
Yes, Miss Feline.
Miss Griffis.
Yes,
Oh, sorry. I was like, can you hear me?
I can.
Pet consultation.
Oh, I can't. Now you're breaking up, Miss
Do
Feline.
you give on the weekends? Like, how many do you do on?
How many do I do on the weekends? Was that the question, Miss Feline?
How many pet assessments? Yes.
Yes. I do
Yes.
anywhere. Oh my gosh. I do
Hello?
anywhere from. Can you hear me, Miss Feline? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I do anywhere
Yes.
from 2 to, I don't know, what's my biggest one? 7, 8. So it kind of depends. I try to schedule them on the hour. That just keeps me in check. That's kind of just the way I do it. Sometimes I have people that want to talk. I mean, my longest one has been an hour and a half. But really on average, they're about, I don't know, 15 minutes to half an hour. It takes me roughly 15 minutes to get through every product. So it kind of depends on, you know, how much story and pre-story and story. And it really does depend on the client, because the client will start asking you questions. And when they ask me questions, I answer them, and I usually give them an example of a testimony from whatever product they're asking a question on. So if they ask me a question, they always get a story about a dog in response. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very, very welcome.
Per presentation.
Ms. Griffith,
Yes, Mr. Henderson.
I mean, look, I just want you to raise your hand like you hold a mic and then just let go, okay? Because serious mic drop, I'm so glad that this training was recorded. We may archive it and make it available, you know, in the back office and not just on the on the Google Drive. So, you know, I mean, it's just that super. Just, I mean, that detail. I mean, how you just walk them through. You're there holding their hand. You know what you are, ma'am? I mean, let me tell you what you are. You are a Novetica pet consultant. That's what you are.
Thank you, sir.
That is what you are. So everybody,
Yes,
unmute your phone. Unmute your phone and give it back to Miss Griffis. I mean, this is why she wins those
Phenomenal,
contests.
ma'am.
Okay, this is why she wins those
Yes.
And
contests.
that's
Yes.
You
I
did
haven't had my
that,
mind blown in a
That,
long time.
did that.
that was
That blew my
Phenomenal
that was
mind.
job,
awesome.
man.
That blew
That
my
was
Great, great,
mind.
fire.
Schedule.
Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely,
great.
Thank you, ma'am.
absolutely,
Thank you.
absolutely.
That
You know,
that blew my mind.
I want everybody to make sure that you light the threads up, that you light them up. All right, everybody understand? Light them up. Right? Super great job. I mean, excellent. I just nothing I can say. There's nothing else, but to definitely take this call higher. We know how we do. We know what we do. So all hearts and minds are clear. Father, we thank you right now. We just give you so much glory. We give you so much praise. We live and maintain an attitude of gratitude because we know that if we had 10,000 tongues, we could never, ever thank you enough. And if you just stop doing for us, God, you've already done enough. And so we thank you right now. We thank you for this great opportunity, which is Novetica, your pet's choice. And we thank you for the visionary. We thank you for the man. We thank you for the polymath. We thank you for the guru. We thank you for our CEO, Dr. Lance London. We continue to lift up the executive team as they hold, as they hold his arms up when he gets tired, if he ever gets tired. So we thank you for the executive team. Thank you right now for those who found it not robbery to share with us, from the opening to the 7 core values. Thank you, Mr. Dove, to this phenomenal training. Pour back into them as they poured out to us. And Father God, for every ear they can hear, and Father God, every soul they can receive, I pray prosperity into their lives, into their family lives. We give you all the glory, all the praise, all the honor, and we do it in the name that's above all names, your name, your son's name, Yeshua. Amen. Hallelujah.
Amen. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Light it up.
Amen.
Light it up.
Amen. Great presentation. Everybody have a great evening. Be blessed.
Bless
Light it
you.
up.
Amen. Thank you.
Man, my mind is blown.